Hey everybody, this is Neacsu at Real Talks, and before the next episode starts, just want to give an answer to a lot of people who are asking me, what software do I use uh, to create my podcast? And the platform that I use is Anchor.fm. It's absolutely free. It has a huge reach, so it'll actually reach out to Apple, it'll reach out to Google, and it'll reach out to Spotify and other platforms. So those platforms pick up your podcast, so you have maximum exposure to anybody who is interested in listening to your podcast. As well, if you're absolutely lucky, there will be companies that will reach out to you and might want to sponsor your podcast. You might get paid for something that you love to do. So if you are interested in starting your own podcast, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And here we go to the next episode, and thank you for your time. Welcome to Real Talks, the Realtor Life. This is where we talk to real agents about their story and their journey in real estate. We'll discuss their beginnings, their struggles, and their ultimate successes. We peel back the layers and deliver a behind-the-scenes conversation that you, the listener, can find inspiration. My name is Nick Neacsu. My intention is to share the authentic realtor life. This is Nick Neacsu with Real Talks, and this is Life of a Realtor, and this is DJ Denner, my business partner. And for episode 2, and it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here in our office.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding, but this is awesome. This is pretty cool, Nick.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But I had some great feedback from my story, and everybody was talking about your story, and they want to hear where you came from. And and again, just a refresh from the previous episode, we met at a different brokerage, side by side at the bullpen. From that meeting, we've created this. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's funny to think back how far we've come.
It's amazing. So, but this is about you and your story.
Okay.
So I want you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
I want to introduce what you do, how many years you're in the business, and the market that you're in.
Sure. So my name is DJ Denner. I'm with Angel Hassman Associates in West Vancouver. I've been in the business now for, I think, just about 10 years, about 4 years in Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows, where I grew up, and the last 6 years here in West Vancouver.
Yeah, and how much have you sold in your career?
We've sold a lot. It's been fun, and it really is. It's a dream job, so I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah.
We both are.
But giving other agents an idea of your accomplishments, like give them a number. People strive towards numbers.
I know we've done a lot.
It's close to $500 million.
It is.
It is. I'll answer it for you. It's close to $500 million. So which is remarkable because people look at what you do and they look at your lifestyle and they say, "Wow, it must be really nice," but they don't understand it took a lot for you to get there.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And this is what I think. This is where it begins. And I think the very first question I have for you is, why did you become a realtor?
Why did I become a realtor? You know what? Funny enough, when I was growing up, I swore I never would be. My mom was a realtor. She was a really good realtor, and I don't know. I just didn't want to. She's an amazing realtor, an amazing mom, but for whatever reason, I just didn't see myself as a realtor. So it wasn't until I was in university, I had to do a project, and I had to look up a picture of a nice home. So I Googled, Vancouver mansion or something, and this website came up at the top of Google, and I clicked on it, and it was a local realtor here in West Vancouver. And I don't know what happened, but in that moment, I just became completely obsessed. I don't know what happened. It was something about, for me, where I came from, it was a different style of business altogether. They didn't wear suits where I came from, and that was appealing. That no matter what I did, I wanted to be well dressed, and I wanted to be, it was something about it just triggered with me, and from that moment on, I just became completely obsessed, and so I decided to get into real estate. And my mom was she was in real estate, so I went to my mom and I got my license, and I started working with her at her brokerage there in Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows, and I have to be honest, that was probably one of the best things for me. I worked with some of the best professionals I'd ever worked with. They taught me a lot. My mom was loved by everyone. So when I went there, I was the everyone's son, and they took care of me and they taught me a lot. Actually, I learned a lot about contract law from my first mentor would be Justin Hennessy. He should have been a lawyer, and the way he presented himself professionally in a meeting with clients was incredible. And I learned how he conducted himself professionally. I learned a lot from him. So from there, I guess that was my start. That's how it all started.
That's amazing. And so you were starting in Pitt Meadows.
Yes.
And you were selling what type of real estate?
What type of real estate? I remember my first sale was a farm. It was on, I think it was like 236th. And it was a 7-acre farm. And I believe it was for $736,000 or something like that.
That's not a bad sale, but will you ever forget your first sale?
I never will, because my mom helped me on it. I lucked out. Thanks, Mom, if you're listening. But it was great to have. My mom was also a great mentor as well.
So how long were you in Pitt Meadows for?
For real estate?
Yeah.
For real estate, I was there for 4 years.
4 years. So what was the shift? What happened in your life to make that drastic move?
Well, so for me, what happened was, good question. So again, going back in university, I found that website, and I saw this website with these beautiful giant homes on the water, and I looked at the pictures on his website, and he's wearing a beautiful suits with, and it just, something about that just appealed to me. So it was a level of marketing as well that wasn't being done in my marketplace at that time in Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows. Now it's being done there. But the realtor that I was looking up to at the time, he was at the forefront of marketing real estate here in Vancouver. So what, someone's honking out there. So when I went to Maple Ridge Pitt Meadows, the idea was to take that level of business there. I wanted to do it in Pitt Meadows, Maple Ridge, and be the luxury realtor in Pitt Meadows and Maple Ridge.
But you shifted from that market to where we met downtown.
Yes.
What type of business were you doing at the time, and why did you want to move? Obviously, it was to elevate your career, but something shifted. What was it?
I wanted to see if I could do it. To me, from that website, it was a challenge. I wasn't from West Vancouver. I had never sold a home over $1 million, and I wanted to challenge myself. So I had made the decision to go to West Vancouver, and originally was to work downtown. Because the farm boy thought to himself, I'll live downtown and work downtown, and it'll be fun. And then I'll cross the bridge and go to West Vancouver every day. And then I figured out the traffic across the bridge to West Vancouver. So it was impossible to do that, to work downtown and to drive.
So when we're talking about farm boy, this is literal.
Yeah.
Correct? Right,
Yes.
So just a quick background of what you like to do, because it's
what I grew up doing.
Yeah.
In the cowboy realm. Or
Yeah.
We grew up on a horse ranch. So I had we grew up with horses. My sisters both married professional bull riders. Well, one professional bull rider, one professional cowboy roper. So I grew up roping and riding. Pigs, dogs, chickens, horses, cows, you name it.
Roosters.
Had it. Roosters was our alarm clock, 100%. So
that's amazing. So back to downtown now.
Yes, yeah.
So you are 4 years in the business.
So 4 years in the business, and I'll be honest, I just felt like I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. So I decided that I would first I had to Google how to get to West Vancouver. I didn't know how to get there, so I Googled how to get to West Vancouver. And before I made the move, I just drove around and just kind of envisioned myself here, so then I knew the managing broker at TAC where we met.
Yeah.
And so I thought that would be a great transition. I thought that could go from downtown, work in a downtown office and make that commute across the bridge every day and sell, multi-million-dollar homes in West Vancouver.
Right.
Yeah.
So you started door knocking.
Yes.
And one of the more inspiring stories that you have is about your footwear.
Oh.
So we're not talking about door knocking 10 houses a day. Talk about, when you were door knocking, how motivated you were.
So, our motivation at the time was dead broke. Our family had gone through. We grew up, very fortunate, and after the 2008 crisis, our family had taken quite the hit, and it was unbeknownst to me what was going on behind the scenes. But 2011, they just kind of hit rock bottom, and while everything's great now, they were able to liquidate their real estate. But at the time, it was kind of tough. So we were going through quite the struggle, and it was 2011 where my mom and my dad started asking me for help with money, and I did as much as I could until I ran out. So we were broke. We were talking almost lost my car, I couldn't eat. I remember my roommate, he asked me if I was okay because he realized that I wasn't grocery shopping and I was eating his crackers. So there was definitely, we always say this, success comes from desperation or inspiration, and we were maybe lucky enough to have both. I love the business of real estate. Loved it, and we were also desperate. So that was my motivation. And you talked about the shoes. So I was driving home one day, and I'd heard on the radio someone, a DJ announcer or DJ on the radio, was talking about Oprah quotes or something, and they had said Oprah's famous quote is, "A crisis is here to teach you something." So I thought to myself, what is this here to teach me? And I grew up pretty lucky. My family, they always took care of us kids. So I wouldn't say we were hard workers before that. What happened there was, that was my inspiration. That's what I figured.
But so this is something that's incredible. So you're dead broke.
Yes.
Yeah. You were basically stealing crackers from your roommate.
Yeah.
To eat.
Yeah.
I was there with you doing, I was there in part of your life at that time.
Yes.
Going down a very similar journey.
Yeah.
But I remember you taking off your shoes.
Oh yeah.
What did you do?
That.
Yeah.
So the shoe thing. So what happened was, I didn't have any fancy dress shoes. And actually it was Leo Wilk, a good friend of ours as well. He had a pair of shoes that didn't fit him anymore, and he asked if I think if you wanted them. They didn't fit you, and they didn't fit me either, but I had no choice. So I squeezed my size 12s into a size 11. Eventually they stretched out. But I started door knocking, and I knew that at that time, that if all that stood between me and bringing money to the table and helping my family and myself was getting to the door, then I was going to as many doors as possible. And the story that Nick is talking about is that I guess I had knocked so many doors, and I couldn't afford new shoes, that I had worn holes through my shoes, and
through the outsole
of my shoe. And what I would do is, because I couldn't buy new shoes, I would take insoles from other shoes. So my Nike cross trainers, I would take those out. I remember they were yellow, so I'd slip those in. And I remember how embarrassing it was when I actually got invited into a house sometimes, and I'd kick my shoes off, and it'd be these black leather slip-on shoes with a yellow Nike insole on the inside. And even open house, I remember going to agents' opens. I remember seeing everyone else's shoes were Prada or Gucci, and then there was my broke down shoes with the yellow insole, Nike insoles. So, but this is what it was. It was a fun time.
So would you say that was probably your lowest point in this journey, in this part of your journey in your life?
Yeah, I think that was it. I think it's a very low time. I mean, being broke is not fun. And I remember one time my mom being on the phone, and she was crying because it's just enough was enough. And I told Mom not to worry. I got this. And that became my mantra. When I was working, I didn't realize that till later that I had done that. I created a mantra in my head, which was, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was.
I remember I remember you saying it all the time.
Really?
But not as a mantra, just as his DJ. I got this. I got this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Talk about your turning point in your career.
Turning point. I think my turning point was funny because we share our story is so similar.
Cross paths, yeah.
Cross paths. So, I'll be honest. I think one turning point was for sure. There was a couple points on our journey. I think one definitely was us meeting. I think that was one big one. And if I was to fast forward a little bit, I'd have to say one of the bigger was actually finding a mentor here in West Vancouver. Having a mentor, and that mentor ended up being actually the person that I used to, for lack of a better word, stalk. Through his website and through magazines. I would stalk. So it was crazy to go from there to sitting in his office and then signing listings with him and doing deals together. So to answer your question, I think the biggest turning point would have to be career-wise, where we started to make money, was from finding our mentor.
Yeah.
For me.
That's great. And so moving forward, so you're going through this struggle.
Yep.
You have worn out shoes.
Yeah.
You have
sweating through my shirts.
Sweating through your shirts.
Yeah. If I had $5 for gas, I would have to. I remember picking it was food or gas, and I'd pick it for gas.
Right. So you're basically food or business.
Yes.
So you're investing in yourself and business.
Yes.
And you're chasing. You're not chasing deals. You're actually out searching for the next deal.
Yes.
Your eyes are open. So the turning point was mentorship.
Mentorship.
Very interesting.
Yeah, mentorship. I would say I was very driven. I'm very goal oriented. I definitely always had a plan. Like for example, when I first joined Angel Hassman on September 5th. I remember my very, very first goal was to have 2 listings by November 1st because we only got 2 free months at Angel Hassman and I couldn't afford to pay for anything after that.
Right.
So I needed to get 2 listings. So again, September 5th is when I started. November 1st was my goal, and I had pounded the pavement, wore holes in my shoes, met some interesting people. So I met some great people door knocking, people that kept encouraging me. They'd say, we're not interested in selling, but man, it's awesome that you're hitting the pavement right now. So keep doing what you're doing. So I'd come across those people. But anyways, through just hard work and perseverance and a very strong belief, belief that I was meant to do this, was a big driver for me. And so on November 1st, I signed my first 2 listings, one for 3.6 and one for 4.2, and sold the one for 3.6 million in 16 days. And it wasn't easy. It was probably one of the toughest deals of my life, not just negotiating, but even after trying to get it to close. But it closed, and so that was, for me, goals has always been a big part of my journey.
So, and tell everybody about, you're a visualizer.
Yes, big time.
And talk about your vision board or boards.
Yeah, boards. The way I work is I've always had a great imagination, and we always say there's 2 types of people. There's high intellect and high emotion. I kind of veer towards the high emotion. So when I would see images of things that I wanted out of life and wanted to achieve, my high emotion would attach to it, and it would just be my driving force. Nothing would stop me. So I'd put these vision boards up in my kitchen, or just one, and I would just look at it when I brush my teeth in the morning. In the mirror, I'd be there in the mirror and I'd watch when I brush my teeth. Same thing at night. It'd be in my office. Just always focusing and bringing my focus. Whenever my focus, or I felt kind of, whenever I fell off course or felt down, I just would look at these images and I would find that drive again.
Just sharpen
sharpen
focus
it. And the trick for me was I know people say it's vision boards to me. It's nothing magical. It's not like all of a sudden you put it on the board and nothing happens and then you don't do anything. And then it just comes to you. To me, a vision board is something that you just remind yourself daily of what you're working for. And if opportunities present itself for you to achieve one of those goals, you're ready for it because you're focused on this all the time.
And how many of those goals or aspirations did you achieve on your vision board, on your very first vision board?
All of them. Yeah.
And did you was there, when you created your vision board, was there a little bit of self-doubt that you could get there?
There was a ton of self-doubt all the time. I remember thinking to myself, like, even creating the vision board, I was thinking to myself, this is I'm going too big. It's not. I should think smaller. But I stayed to it. I thought big, and what's really funny is my very first journal, because I would also, Think and Grow Rich is a great book to read for anybody who's getting started or anybody who wants to change their life. It's a great book on mindset, and so I would with my vision board I also paired it with a journal where I'd write down my goals. I remember I had this old journal, and I kind of just not thrown it away, but just kind of stuffed it somewhere. And a few years later, I found it, and I looked back, and it said, in 2013, I will accomplish this, 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 and this. And I found this book, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh my God, it was like travel to New York with friends. I'd done that, and that was at a time where a trip to New York was not going to happen. There was no money. How could anybody afford a trip to New York? You know,
Right.
It was achieve a certain dollar amount, and I actually achieved that exact dollar. I think we did that exact dollar amount. It was a couple other things. There was about 5 items, but each of those were checked off. I didn't even know it.
That's amazing. So visualization, setting your goals and believing in your goals, and not just believing in them, but actually creating action to achieve those goals are huge.
Yes.
And especially, we get messages from so many young realtors, and I'm talking about young in career, not young in age.
Yeah.
And they ask you, what should you be doing as a young realtor to build business? And what do you tell those young realtors?
To build business? Gosh, where to start? My first advice is, everyone's kind of different. I would have to ask, I guess I always tell them the same thing. I think it's just, where do you want to be? I think this is the first thing I always ask people. If somebody's a realtor, in downtown, I get this a lot actually. I get a realtor that works downtown or in North Vancouver or something, and I ask them where do they want to live one day, and they go, I want to live in Kits or on the west side. I ask them, why are you starting your career here, downtown at a downtown office or a North Vancouver office, if you have aspirations of working on the other side. So I tell them, first things first is go to where you want to.
So work where you want to live.
Work where you want to live. Build your life and your career in the same community.
Right.
I think that's the first step. I've had people before who felt lost, and that was the reason why.
So and the importance of working as hard as you can and as smart as you can at the very beginning, especially to build your book. From my perspective, I find that people who don't work hard don't achieve much. And when we were working hard, maybe we were a little bit crazy, but we were desperate. And we were doing double open houses. We would do 11 to 1 and 2 to 5 on a Saturday and Sunday for like robots to build our book. But getting exposure, getting your name out is very important, and meeting as many people as possible.
Yeah.
The theory is if you meet double the amount of people in half the time, you will achieve the same amount of you will achieve that goal in a short period of time than if you would do only one open house Saturday or Sunday, right?
Yeah. I think for me, what worked for me in my mindset and what I do teach to others, and I tell it to them, and if it works for them, then it works for them. But it worked for me. So what I believed was that every time I was working, it doesn't matter. Let's say for an example, an open house. Let's say I went to the open house suited up. I prepared for it. I had bottle of water out. I had all the printouts perfect. I had everything laid out perfectly. The house, I was there early. Everything was perfect. The guest book was out. And even if nobody showed up to that open house, because I put my best foot forward and I put all the effort, I did everything I possibly could, I was earning real estate karma points. And so for me, I believed in that. I believed in building good real estate karma.
Keeping the real estate gods happy.
Keeping the real estate gods happy, yeah. So for me, that was my mindset. That's how I would tell myself that even if nobody showed up, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing the right thing.
So we know what motivated you moving forward, or sorry, in the past, which was desperation. Now you're obviously out of that level. So what motivates you now?
What motivates me now? I still set my goals. So there's always goals that I'm trying to achieve. I think moving forward in life, I want to be able to. Yeah, I want to be. I mean, I'm getting married September 2nd, and to an incredible woman, and I think it's. I don't know. It gives you a. One of our friends, Eric Christensen, always said, you make more money when you get married, and you make more money with every kid you have, and the idea behind that is that with more responsibility, you push yourself harder. And I get that now. I get that with getting married, you just want to come through. You want to deliver and give them the best possible life. So I think that's my biggest driver, is giving my family the best possible life.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. And then and what are your aspirations moving forward? What's the next level for DJ Denner?
What's the next level for DJ Denner? I don't know. I think for me, I mean, one, I think for sure, I can't wait I want to hit my first $1 billion in sales. That's something I'm looking forward to. And I think it's, for me, I think it's just continuing to be able to help people. That's one of the biggest things we always talk about in real estate, is that it's not just selling a house. It really is helping people. So when, Bob and Susan ask for our help, or hire us, we take it as they're asking for our help. And that's something I'm really addicted to. I really, really like helping people, whether it be a new agent that reaches out to us, or a client that is trying to find a home because they're relocating their family here from somewhere abroad, or they live here in Vancouver and they need to sell their house and they've chosen us. I take a great deal of honor in that. Like, I feel, I think to myself, wow, they chose me. And I take that very seriously. I don't take it lightly. So that's probably my biggest motivator, is helping others, right? Delivering for the client.
Right. That's great. So you wanted $1 billion in sales.
$1 billion in sales.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
$1 billion in sales,
and helping others.
Yeah.
It's interesting to go from a mindset of desperation. Now you're in aspiration, and you're serving other people.
Yes.
It's just a life of serving other people. It doesn't matter if it's getting paid to do it and selling the real estate, or helping other agents, or whoever. It's a really nice mindset to be in, because people want authenticity, and if you deliver that, and then people will just want to be around you.
Yeah.
And in real estate, I think that's what you do.
Yeah.
You offer that, and people are attracted to that. DJ is known by everybody in the community almost. They know who he is. He's got 15,000 followers on Instagram just because he's just showing his life.
Yeah.
People are attracted to that kind of stuff, and I think there's not a lot of that in our world right now. So that's proof that being authentic and serving other people really works, especially in business. So one last question that I ask everybody.
Okay.
What single piece of advice would you give your younger self on day one, when starting your career or business in real estate?
In real estate. Wow, great question. One piece of advice. I would have to say, the first thing I would say to myself would be, seek a mentor. I think that is probably the best way to get from A to B as quickly as possible.
That's his story, and you can. I would suggest following him on Instagram at DJ Denner. You can check his personal website out at dddenner.com.
.ca.
Oh, .ca.
There's a DJ Denner in London that will not give me .com.
Yeah. If you need a DJ for parties, I'm sure he'll be there.
I'll also say if any young agents out there have any questions or need any help starting out, feel free to reach out to DM me through Instagram anytime. I'm happy to help. I know you're the same.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here to help other people as well. It's funny how what you give out comes back to you and probably 10 times fold. And yeah, so thanks again, DJ. Thanks for your time. Thanks for being so honest and authentic. I'm sure everybody's going to love hearing your story. And yeah.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, buddy.
Bye, guys.